but a lot of times people will refer to her as Shelly, and I want to be able to lean into that a lot because one thing that I think is interesting is a lot of friends, family, witnesses, they always called her Shelly, which seems like such a sweet, demure name. I almost feel like everyone's saying, oh, Shelly, just kind of added this air of lightheartedness to who she was. And the reality is, there was absolutely nothing lighthearted about Michelle Knotek. People said when Shelly was growing up, she was very cute. She had these big blue eyes and she had like big, like wavy auburn hair. She just looked like the most normal, cute little girl. But Michelle's home life was pretty rocky. Now, we've talked about some stories before that just have bombshell paths of trauma. And I mean, Michelle does have an interesting backstory, but a lot of what she was getting was what I generally call death by 1,000 paper cuts. It's like when you're getting this type of abuse that is so minor and it hurts so badly from like a parental figure or a family member, but it's not so serious that anyone will ever validate it. So to me, death by 1,000 paper cuts is like constantly being invalidated, constantly being ignored, minimized, yelled at, like, you know, degraded in some capacity, and then made to believe that you're the problem and it's like not real and it happens day after day after day after day after day. Like, this will really mess somebody's brain up. Michelle's dad, Les, he actually ends up getting divorced a little bit later in the story, but they said Les, he was 6'2", he was confident, he was a hunk, he was a little bit of like a liar and like charismatic, you know the type, but like that was her dad, and he was just fully sucked into himself, sucked into his own ego. It was all about him. So we don't know the exact details of his relationship with Michelle, but that was one aspect of it. And then her mom was just a full-blown alcoholic. Like, her mom had been a pretty heavy drinker before Michelle was even born. But something was just happening. She was just drinking more and more and more and more and more. And it got to the point where like Les was like, I'm not dealing with this. I'm leaving you. So to set the early years for Michelle, she's got this like larger than life dad who's very charismatic. Everybody knows he's a little bit of a liar and he likes the ladies and he's kind of hot and he's personable and he's the man. And then her mom is this severe alcoholic that's only getting worse day by day, and now hotshot dad is leaving alcoholic mom. So this is incredibly early. Like, Michelle may not even remember them being together in any capacity, but this was the dynamic, right? After the separation, Les, he goes off looking for somebody new to settle down with, and then his ex-wife, Michelle's mom, she just keeps on drinking. And she's enjoying drinking and partying so much that she just abandons her children completely. Also, sorry, let me be clear. Shelly has 2 brothers at this time, and so they're all together as a trio. And Shelly's mother abandoned all 3 of them. So while Shelly and her brothers and her mother are in this just weird period where her mom's drinking a whole lot and they're trying to figure out their lives, Les had gone off and married a woman named Laura. Okay, so they get married in 1990 in just like a little civil ceremony, Vancouver, Washington, friends and family only, very cute. And Laura, new wife, she's like, oh my gosh, my husband's so hot, he's charismatic, everyone likes him, hot shot, everything's perfect. And Les is like, yes, babe, everything's perfect. Except Les didn't tell Laura one really big detail. You guys heard in the news that Ticketmaster got hacked a while back. Well, when this stuff happens, what they do is if you've ever made an account on Ticketmaster or another website like that, if there's a data breach, people go in there and they take your name, your email address, your date of birth, password, anything that's available and not encrypted, and they steal all of that from the server and then they distribute it on the dark web and sell your information. Now, you can use Aura to scrub your information from the internet, but why would you want to do that, right? Why does it matter? Well, when your data is online, this is why we get these annoying emails, we get these annoying spam calls trying to see if our number is active. It's because your data's out there and it's publicly available. Look, we're rolling into 2025. I can't believe I'm saying that, but everything we're doing is online, and so it is so incredibly important to protect your data. Like, this is just as important as your Netflix subscription. And it's really around the same price, if not cheaper. I'm pretty sure it's cheaper. Regardless, you don't want to leave yourself or your family vulnerable to data breaches. So Go to aura.com/sinister. You can sign up today and you'll get 2 weeks free. That's right. All you got to do is type in aura.com/sinister for a free 2-week trial. Aura's gonna take care of you. Protect your data. And like, hold your breath for a minute, because I need you to like almost put yourself in Laura's shoes, because this is a big deal. Imagine you marry a man and he's so wonderful, he's so great, y'all are gonna have babies, he's so perfect. And then you find out that he never told you he had 3 kids from a previous marriage, and he had already agreed to raise them. That's right. Les married Laura, didn't tell her that he had 3 kids, and that after they were to be married, he had already agreed to raise the 3 children so that they didn't have to stay with their alcoholic mom. So Laura thinks she's just married into this like amazing situation, and now she finds out she's about to be a stepmom to 3 children that she doesn't know. And guess what? They're coming next week. I'm trying to walk in Laura's shoes for a minute here, because she's probably beside herself. Like, you love this man. He's got 3 kids. Well, the kids need help because their mom is a terrible alcoholic and she's not taking care of them. Well, okay, I guess. And then Les is like, by the way, baby, I got to tell you one more thing. She's like, what do you mean I got to say? He's like, by the way, I might have lied about my age. I'm 10 years older than I said I was. Guys, right here, divorce. You lying to me about kids and you're lying to me. If a guy says that he's 10 years younger than he is, that's insane. Absolutely insane. So this is the type of guy Les was. I kept telling you guys, charismatic, hotshot, liar, manipulator, but like truly, genuinely. So Laura is now freshly married and a stepmom to 3 kids that she doesn't know, and she's married to a guy 10 years her senior that she didn't know. And also, not just 10 years her senior, he was 10 years older than what he told her. So I'm not sure the ages that he told her, but like, if she's 27 and he claimed he was 37, he might actually be 47, like it might be 20 years. It depends on what age he told her. So now my husband's a liar. What do we do next? So now the week has come, and Miss Shelley is moving in with her 2 brothers. For reference, Shelley's brothers' name are Chuck and Paul. But whenever we have a story that has complex storylines or a lot of names, I try to really keep it to the core names that you guys might need to know, just so it doesn't get too confusing. But there's a lot of names in this story, so I don't want to confuse you too much. Anywho, so Michelle and her 2 brothers move into the house, and Laura is meeting the stepchildren for the first time. And something absolutely fucking insane happens within the first week. Absolutely insane. Once again, guys, we're doing this story a little bit through Laura's point of view, because she's the only sane one that I have in the story so far. Les is gone. Shelley's fucking crazy. So I need you to imagine you're Laura again. Your husband has lied to you about how old he is. He has lied about having children. He has moved these children in, and now you're in a holy legal matrimony, and you got to deal with this, and you're meeting the kids. And then let's just say that you see the girl doing something weird one day, and you're like, what is she doing? You see her do it, and you're like, that can't be. There's no way that she's doing what I think she's doing. And then a couple hours later, you hear a yell, and you find out that she was doing exactly what you thought she was doing. This is insane. Shelley, for fun, would like to take bits of glass and break them up into tiny little pieces. And she would take the little pieces of glass and she would sprinkle them in her brother's shoes. That's what Laura witnessed Michelle doing. She watched her breaking up glass and putting it in her brother's shoes. I cannot imagine what the Laura went through in that week. I cannot imagine it. So, this was absolutely shocking to her, but that is what happened. When Michelle, sometimes she would get upset, or sometimes she just liked to see people in pain. It probably gave her a little sense of empowerment. It gave her a sense of enjoyment. And it's like a trickster that like sees their trick playing out, and their reward is someone else's emotional pain. That's what she liked. Michelle liked other people's emotional pain. It was like a drug to her. This was not an isolated incident either. This is something that she did multiple times. But this particular form of torture is one that stuck out in Laura's mind. There were many little things that she would do, many games that she would